He's the man behind hits like Bill Yanga, Arasi, Ghetto.
Statistical, I think I've been, for the past 10 years, that I've been, I would say, if not the most dominating dance artist, I would put myself in the top 3 no matter what. As an upcoming artist, my collaboration with my international artists, sometimes I feel like, my big artists, sometimes I feel like they're so unnecessary. Big brands, they will charge you for a collab. But then, as an artist, as an upcoming artist, don't spend money on music you can't monetize yet. Abwana, inyo mukozovira mushobu, nugabeza Air Force. Nugabeza sneaker, ine galimba Malinga sneaker. Mutenga Air Force, for the Malinga sneaker is mukulinziwa. So people don't buy what they don't know.
So you said you recorded your first song. This is officially recorded in 2007. When you go back to listen to that song today, what's your take?
Hey, what's up? It's your girl, Miss Rena L. General.
Yours truly, Lomwe.
Yeah, this is Black Jack.
Evo Timothy. Farmer Michael.
What it do, what it does.
What up, people? This was good.
You're listening to or tuned into
The 5Roundz podcast.
5 rounds.
5 rounds.
5 rounds.
Make sure you stick it right here because it's lit.
What's going on, people? Welcome to 5 Rounds. I am Wantali. We've got Mr. Ovi2Nyc.
What it do, what it does, people. It is what it is, and what's up? This is why I'm here. I'm breathing. Huh? Your people be hating on me all the time. Head on Wantali. I just want to repeat that, please. If every time you're watching this podcast, head on Wantali. Thank you very much.
People they hate on me, though. They always hate on me. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I think the fire is not enough. What we got? What you got today? What you got? Why did you actually bother me, annoy me that I should come today? What do you have? Don't be waste my time.
Relax. Today's a good day, guys. Today's a good day. We got a very talented gentleman, a very hardworking artist. So he's an award-winning Malawian artist. I wouldn't say he's just a dancehall artist. I think you just call it urban music. Like it's a mixture. You know what I mean? I wouldn't put him in one category, but he's known for the dancehall scene, right? One of them, anyway. He's the man behind hits like Bill Yanga, Arasi, Ghetto, right? I would call him a cultural force because every time he releases a song, it's almost like that becomes the language, the trend, that's it. This is what we're gonna do, you know? So when Arasi came out and Bill Yanga came out, you know, we were talking about Malawian.
Hey, that's true. People actually start talking about Malawian because of hearing that verse.
Malawian, you know what I mean?
It became a cool thing. Even though for the fact that Malawian is Malawian, you know.
That's it. So this guy is recognized and respected in music by his peers. You know, he's revered as a hitmaker. You know, he's probably one of the hardest working artists in Malawi. Worked with people like Episodes, DJ Slade, Gwamba, KLK, Zeze Kingston. You know what I mean? And the list keeps going because this guy just literally he's worked with almost everybody. Right? Here's the man of the moment, Mr. Malinga. What is going on, sir? What's happening? Welcome.
Yeah, thanks, my man. Shout out, dude.
No problem.
Did you forget anything in the introduction? Maybe I'm married to 5 wives or anything like that.
Zabobo.
No, we just have to check. We'll check it out. We'll be like,
nice. Zabobo.
Big up, man. Welcome to 5 Rounds, Malinga. We are very thrilled to have you here, man. Very, very thrilled.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it, man. Yeah.
Good man. You know what? Everybody knows you. Knows you about when it comes to music, right? Even I just know you when it comes to the music. But can you tell us a little bit more about where you grew up and what your life was like as a kid? So before you became who you are today, you know, take us through that journey.
Okay. Malinga, born and raised in Lilongwe, Area 18. Where all the music comes from, Area 18, yeah. So Yeah, of course. Yeah. So, but yeah, Malinga basically, I grew up as a fan of Konda music from way back, and of course, I'm multi-talented, as most people say, because apart from music, I used to play football, I used to do art, like drawing and everything, and yeah, and also. Now, if I want the school one be, so of course, this is more casual way to mix both. But yeah. So basically, I'm just one youth from area 18 who just grew up in a neighborhood whereby I was surrounded by music. So
Mm.
yeah, and then I
Okay.
started music basically from family side because I'm not the only artist in the family.
Oh,
I grew up when you remember Young Degree and Kinton from the Masavage days. The guys who
Kinton,
Yes,
that we
Kinton,
yes,
Kinton.
Kinton
yes.
is Kinton is my big brother.
Whoa,
Oh,
Yeah, Kinton
whoa.
is my big blood brother and Young Degree as well. So music is not a new thing.
oh, okay. No, that's new. I didn't know. Do you know what?
Eh,
Now two and two. I'm putting two and two together because there's the real that came right, and you were doing a
eh,
freestyle. You were doing a
yeah,
freestyle, and you mentioned that.
eh,
But when you're saying the freestyle, Nazani was Chan Chan in
eh,
Kinton. Remember the iPhone? You didn't see you during the freestyle you
eh,
mentioned Kinton, and
yes, yes, yes,
now
yes.
that. Now you saying this, now it's coming to my mind. Oh, okay, that wasn't just the
Yeah,
freestyle.
man.
It was actually you meant that. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah, man. Yeah, man. So I learned everything about music from Kinton and Young Degree.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. So not in fun journey from I don't know, standard 4 or 5. I was just listening to dancehall music because Kinton and Young Degree were listening to dancehall, so I had no choice. Yeah, so the exposure was just at a younger age. So yeah, man.
Okay.
That's okay.
Yeah,
That's where the root. That's where the root of Kadanso kind of went dead. It makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah, man.
If
Yeah,
you were
man.
listening
Yeah,
to hip
most
hop, do you think you would have been in the hip hop artist? Just out of curiosity. Galama
yeah, I
Vilaze,
think so. Hey, I think
the
so
underground
because
hip hop. Kifano
uh,
kuswali kanda ni jana. Kuna kuli kose mundu kaka either brothers or cousins. Amaka kuli
uh,
ngale. Some they are just dance. Some vila dance. In ama vila underground.
yeah,
Ndio kutoka vila
yeah.
underground na just tosi ana only one that was younger. Amakula ni step adi underground hip hop.
I mean, yes, yeah, man. Most, yeah, yeah. I feel like it would have been because I believe good music is exposure. Yeah, there is a reason why Mfana ogulira ku Jamaica and mostly in the dancer because that's what you're exposed to. Likewise, Mfana ogulira US or something. Yeah. So I think talent musically, talent because of bado nayo to do any type of music, but you end up doing the music you're exposed to. Yeah.
No, that's fair enough.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
that's
Sure.
I know it's not going ahead yet, Komano.
Yeah.
Did you ever do music then in Kinton? Kabina, at that time you were just following the footsteps because I know from the time where you started, singing, maybe you were doing more before that. I would say maybe, and I think maybe around what 20 maybe 2011, 2012, around that, if I'm right or wrong. Maybe
Yeah.
28. It wouldn't be less than 28, 8 coin anyway.
Yeah.
That's
I would have taken a different path if I was exposed to different type of music because the talent is inborn, but the path in my code is determined by what you're exposed to. So because I was exposed to dance music, that's how I ended up being a dance artist. Yeah.
Okay.
So I did fun.
so
That is very interesting. In fact, I was going to ask that question because there's not many dancehall artists
yes.
around.
Yeah, of course.
Where did you draw your inspiration from? So apart from Godoke, you've been surrounded by dancehall, right? Mavea dancehall when you were growing up. Now you're sort of establishing yourself as an artist because I believe I believe within the first few phases of your life, you're trying to figure out or career, you're trying to figure out what kind of artist you are. Where do you fit? How did you do that? How did you draw my influence? Good, okay, this is how I can.
Yeah. Okay. I think my main influence is Gwambiri. Because I was caught in between. It's either football or music. Because mind you, Kinton and Young Degree were dancehall artists, while another brother, McNair, was a professional footballer. Yeah?
Okay.
So I tried both. I tried both because McNair played like for Silver Strikers, I don't know, for like 12 years. He also played for the national team and everything. So I tried football first, and I was doing music at the same time. So I just kind of leaned towards music, because the advantage thing about music was I could do it in my free time. While football was more like football in time and in like it's either in the morning or in the afternoon. So because it was interrupting Kwambili in the school, it's either you're at the football ground while Anzano or classy, or stuff like that. But music is something I could even do at night during the weekends. So that's how I ended up loving music than football. Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay. So when did you switch? So multi-talented guy, my sports host name Umenya, nyimbo so ngamba. So when did you realize? You know what? Let me push nimbos. Let me push Zanimbos. Zinas dizige kumbuyo, because we need to speak about Zambia as well. Because even Barova, I saw my player. So then, how did you go? Let me represent the body of Gogo.
Okay, so I think a decision in Naibanga when I was because I recorded my first song in 2007 when I was in Standard 8. That was my first time going to studio, buy my headphones to record a song. So on that day from Standard 8, I started recording from when I was still recording. But decision that I should fully focus on music than football, I think indeed from 2. Because I was still playing football. So I think Ndigudo was in the school. School at Tina Zabezodi, I think we were the champions of the Coca-Cola football tournament. So now it was a point, I was drafted for the under 17 team, Coca-Cola, like him representing all the secondary schools for the national team. So now the problem was because generally did the underage, imafunika ndo di pakale signature magolo to authorize you. So dala inagana, and I know you remember myself from 2, so ngajo ke school galo kampe mpira. So because in Dallas in Asaine, that was the end of the football career. But music, we didn't need his signature.
Yeah, you just go what DJ
because music in Alioda, I can just go to studio over the weekend or record. But we are supposed to leave camp or leave school to go to camp. Like for the Sinaga, I was drafted for the national team. So now I go school kuja anzanga kupunzira be ifutakalo ku camp ya mpira. And being from 2 within the class, magolo sana vanga nazo. Yeah, so that's how I ended up to just focus on school and music. If for the school and the music, Zimata, I could do them simultaneously. Yeah. Because I didn't have to skip class to go to studio.
For studio, Dika free, nimaliza kele mpaka sitirigolo. Depends mazuru.
Yes.
Ukamenya weekend, ukamenya anytime. What do you mean?
Yes.
I get you.
Yeah. So that's how I never music fully.
Okay.
Before you go on, I want to ask you. So you said you recorded your first song. This is officially recorded in 2007. When you go back to listen to that song today, what's your take?
See that I am with.
Go on, guys.
See that I am with. Actually,
yeah, because the reason I'm asking, to see yourself where you are today, yes. Where you can play your own song and you can say, "Oh, can you you see when the hype you get from people." And then if you go back and look at that first song you recorded in 2007, my God, would I have been here? My Arasi and my town, 5 pin bars.
Yeah, well, it was a whole different thing. Actually, I don't even have the song. But na remember zabe pachimwana yo tukweserera njani ntaina go semphane when the beat come on the good thing come I think I've always been good on the composition side because it was in the nyimbo you can listen to Nhanija and Wimva with Mfana I easy I could do rhyming with no come you could actually tell good okay we are win by the Mwana. We are
He's
win
not.
by the Mwana. Yes, and this was like even the audio quality there. Makoti to go my studio. Jodi be producer someone from the oil, but yeah, pussy the record. You know what I mean? So
Nobody I get dance so producer I got my lord to think makaka ting
yeah.
ting ting.
Of course, the instrumental, you know, it was a rhythm from
I'm
Jamaica.
gonna say you know guys my reading. That's something about you. That's good. You've got that advantage over the because I remember you're in so many rhythms. Tena kuna za paper kwa bima rhythm babu. Jamani pumu ya duluga. Pumu ya duluga. Pumu ya duluga. Pumu, you know. And I said it's a bit it was a bit advantage for you guys, I would say, you know.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So because the Maroma rhythm, so the instrumentals were always of good quality. So you know, maybe Kanye to produce a vocal white budget. You know, back in the days.
Mike
Windows XP, so
Mike is contest
actually, so we didn't even use a condenser. We use the normal dynamic microphones, the ones we use on stage. You know, I once recorded a song. My headphones are jama kandiga earpiece. I once recorded a song with that.
That's dedication. That's dedication.
Yeah, man. So it was more like because we were having fun. Because to be honest with you, I didn't even know what the nyimbo and having on drama. We were just having fun. We didn't care or not. We were just having fun. So that was
for you guys, and I would say for you guys, it was pretty much good. Okay, nyimbo. I'm very hudu bas, my friends. Yeah,
yeah, man, exactly. So that was the whole point. Actually, even that's the other thing I say to my upcoming artists when they are asked for advice. At first, you need to love the music. Whether you blow up or not, whether it makes money or not, you would still make music.
100.
Yeah. So when you love it, you do it no matter what. Then you know you can monetize it later on.
But just you asking me as an artist, I know that's way ahead, but that's advice you'd say. For example, in today's life, do you think a lot of people have got that mentality that they're gonna sing music because they love it? I doubt it. Now, for your side, because
yes.
If I was going to start singing in the entire country, I'm going back. So
the problem I have with I think the new generation of artists in the they take away the creativity because they are trying so focused on the nyimbo. So it's like you're studying music for the wrong reasons. And that's why my career I'm really makajodi you know, but when if you love the music, you're not moved by what's going on. For example, like even you can tell even from my topics, I mean I wimba my guy, right? For the social media.
Yes.
Yes. Let's say social media but sugar wairovo, then you're going to be able sugar wairovo because it's trending. So you can actually
just to trade.
Yes. So you can actually tell what the nyimbo the sorry naneso the sugar and has in the rose. Right? Not could they really love the music. I feel like with my Gambi over the newer generation of artists, someone will mention already the sugar video show. But you know. So the dinner.
That sounds very, very interesting. Look, while we're sticking on the industry, right? The dancehall industry. You know, growing up, being a fan of music myself, it was one of those industries where you either had very good dancehall artists, and then and then you had the guys who were doing what you were doing with the microphone. You know what I'm saying? You're like the quality was different. So if I remember correctly, the time that you started out, Ajina, you know, Blaga, Masa Vega, they were coming, like they were proper, like releasing things from Gordon.
Yes, true.
If you look at that time, dancehall, where it was just a few artists to now, Do you feel dancehall Malawi wanga progress? Because I'm hearing a lot of the same genres. Dancehall Malawi, has it progressed?
I would say no, still never going to progress. Yeah, and the reason being, I mean, statistical, I think I've been for the past 10 years that I've been, I would say, if not the most dominating dance artist, I would put myself in the top 3 no matter what over the
Give
past
it a
10
round of
years.
applause. Give it a I like the confidence. No, sometimes when you're doing something, you should have that confidence. You know, I would agree to that. I would agree to that. I'd say you're right on that statement. I think you're the light of dancehall right now in Malawi.
Yes. So statistically, because if one artist can dominate for 10 years, that means the genre is not growing. Number one. Yeah. Number 2, I feel like because most of dancehall artists, they sing what we would call Makona arguments. My topics are the only people who are close to that genre can understand. Yes. Like let's say for example, let's say Muhuru Matugere 18 kula Dainaga Firo amagulitsa jamba. Then I mention a song. Only people in area 18 can relate to that stuff. Mfana they're like, who the hell is a Firo? You know what I mean? So I feel like so I feel like he dance scene agule because of the type of songs we are making. I even watched the interview Kanina Bonte Killer, who Afrobeat comes from dancehall, but Afrobeat is everywhere than dancehall because Afrobeat, my topics, the nyimbo zodi, even you're hearing the song for the first time, you can relate to. But I know my dad dance song gamba yemu Ghetto dan tabatsana. So my kind of zodi ilindi audience yo chepa kwambili. That's why the genre imavuda kukula. As far as Malawi is concerned, that's why I would, so that's why I would say personally, I feel like dancehall still it's taking a slow pace, because if it was growing, I mean, it would have been even or I've been attending so many shows, festivals, whatsoever. You could look at the lineup and I would see maybe I'm the only dancehall artist, because if the genre was big enough, you may go or even line up festival, let's say with Sunday Music Festival, you could see maybe a catalog of maybe 9 dancehall artists, that the Benema Kalila ma Ojan Zinas, you can go to a festival, you'd see there's Kauke, you'd see there was the Kulindandani, like category manager, Yama singers, Afrobeat, kind of R&B, you can see what you could artists, and then sometimes it felt like, dancehall Malinga, put him there, you know what I mean? And the lineup is close. So it's like, I feel like dancehall see but many guys color by now because industry takes a movement to push an industry, like how Nigerians are pushing Afrobeat. There are like 7 artists blowing up at the same time. You're listening to Burna Boy, you're listening to Wizkid, you're listening to Wandandan. Mfana said Jama and Vela high notes. It's not like this is Wizkid's moment, this is on the set. But when they dance, it's more like Cartel is the one who's Cartel is the one who's running the place. So one man can't lift the whole genre. It can't work.
That is very interesting, man.
One man can't. So I feel like if more dance artists could emerge, could be a market, but the people can be immediate at the same time. Would be like level many Malinga Ali. There's a country people Mfana and I got 10 blowing up at the same time. Dance will grow up.
But then what? I don't know. Maybe you probably answer it, but from knowing you in the dance scene, there was a time when you were blowing up. There were people that were on top of you, and there were people that you were blowing up together. I can state from the examples of Malinga, which I remember Udatoga. Then you also had the Al-Qaeda. You had.
Yes.
There was a group. You are blowing up together. I can give an example. My suspect rhythm. It was very, very nice.
Suspect rhythm. Yes.
First guy which I'm going I would touch him for sing and my kind of say the Mufado is growing. And the minimum I'm a pin which I win a little solo China. I didn't get out of my case about that's what I will make it the rhythm here. Commando Magam. But what can you say happened? Only a few should still continue paving that way, and then I was Sadia Bimbuyo, because but I'm happy the only way I know you were behind them on the scene. They were in front of your scene carrying you, goody well, you're like my followers, but then you surpass them and then they're still behind there. What's the difference? What did you do differently that they haven't done?
Hard work.
Okay. Hard work, I'll put it this way. But I think most artists, they fail to bridge talent and commerce. With the talent teacher, the bank commercialize. So now because the reason why I'm saying this in the Agudi, music is business, yeah. So meaning to say, it's expensive. It's not cheap to produce music, yeah. So you spend money to record. Let's say producer and get beat, shooting a music video. So you can't be doing that years and years and years and years in church ways and drama. And mind you, Tugamba set up, we are rising from the ghetto. It's not like within the Mfana or the Indian dramas or so it's how we now get. So now music is drama. You focus on the drama. You know what I mean? Yeah. So the difference in there, I figured it out at an early stage how to mix talent and commerce. Do panga jonjija, komana I can commercialize. Let's say ngatinda amba show ndoma charge 10,000. Right? Ndime nyimbo zanga zija ku studio let's say kulipira 1,000. Right? Komano few months later show ija ndambo charge 50,000, meaning to say the extra 30 wouldn't cause a jambulira music video. You understand? So in my career, Jama Kaibanga progress, if I go music ija, the my panga at an angle I would go point blank. I was doing hardcore dancehall for the dancehall fans, and I was also tapping into the general market. Young body, they don't care about what dancehall is. Come I was just giving them songs. They can just look at me as an artist. But if I let's book him up. Yeah. So I think the difference in Makai Mene Woody Neo, the Makala Badman song, the Gambele Badman. And do one song even women can relate to. For example, let's sing at time with readings. You talk of Unali Mfana TK made Passion Reading. I recorded the song Friends Before Fame. So Friends Before Fame went to an audience here, a Malawi in general, not only dancehall fans. Yeah. But many the rest of my friends, I remember now Jamarimba dance on a badman perspective, the Malawians can't relate to. So because of that badman gangster kind of image, you are limited to the number of bookings you can get. Yeah. Because of target. So in there, I think I would say it was 100% about merging talent and commerce. How do I do the same stuff? Come on in a way would most people can tap into that stuff and we can commercialize it. Yeah. So because the growth is on it, So mostly I would say
okay. No, and I think that's what it's explained, and I understand. I mean that's when money would look and do that. As my many that's one of those and then I get some of very I'm gonna die. I'm going to play some more.
Hey, because that dance and having a jay, I call you the hood, but that type of sound, even a jay, the sound you're bo. I'm not despising it. The sound you're bo. Komano dance in this listenership you achieve yet. So sometimes you need to just be an artist in general. You can, could observe market because now the secret behind is as an artist you're a brand. You need to evolve. You need to adapt to times. Right? Could Mfana can dance for 2009. Let's say another 4th year. We are talking of they're in their 40s. Yeah, some they don't even have the energy to come to my show. I can't deliver stage 3 a.m. I go Malinga as I'm 3 a.m. Who can manage to do that? The Mfana Melali College Jivanova. So Mfana college judge. Age group ya wager, what type of music are they interested in? So I'm going to dance a wager, komano ndi bangano adapt to generation manager. So I'm really nanya Mfana inaga kafika 30 ndasia, nuga nyamala mena mbuyacha, no? So I sing to the current generation. That's why Dima Bezodi I'm into every generation. Nima kajuraliense, because of vila kushow kuchabu, ma elda ngalinuyo. Mumvela dance me can vela 2010. It was big in Hamilton College. Said, Mufila along the catalog gija. Mfana new school, 19 over 20 agenda was a dance recently. Even a Jawa, their generation now. So it's like I'm one artist or the ndingopanga evolve in the audience ndinyamula indikaisiya ndikatenga ine ndinyamula indikaisiya so pretty much that's it.
Yeah, that's very good, man. Honestly, you know, I've heard you speak about this before, and you know what I want to know, because you have a lot of knowledge. Like, you know, every time I hear you speak, well, this guy, it's as if I have to preserve music. You know what I mean? I have to preserve music covers and all these things, right? I didn't want you to repeat the things that you said because it's knowledge, right? But my question is, where, you know, you mentioned once in one of your media, let's say in one of your interviews, you said, Kuti, I spend time studying these things. You know, I gain information by studying these things. Is that the only way? Because look, I'm going back because you mentioned this music and commerce. When did you realize? You know, I need to do this music and commerce. How did that happen? You know, because I'm not studying on media, I say, and I'm not telling I'm holding big. My show, I'm big. How? Who you? Because when I got to grab bureau, but you seem to have gone the other way. What prompted you? What prompted you to go? No, I don't want to be like everybody. Let me go do my own thing.
Okay, so I think tricky Makoti, the other thing I've observed the mentality of music listeners.
Right.
People listen to what's new and what's unique. Right? Meaning to say, for example, let's say me growing up in area 18, it's more like my career was coming right after Mafunyeta. Yeah. So Mafunyeta had his own style. Right? It was easy for me to pick up Mafunyeta's style and continue. But in my career, it's short-lived. Right? Meaning to say, for people to distinguish me, Malinga, my music has to be different. Right? So Mfana and observe they very much live in the shadow of their idol. Right? So when you live in the shadow of your idol too much, mind you can't beat your own idol at being your idol. Yeah? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So meaning to say, ngati wewe umafila Malinga and umabela style ya Malinga. So ngampose Malinga yokalo Malinga. Yeah? So mostly I think Mfana mbili makala issue mene yoguti you have an idol, but you end up copying style and don't create something new. So market is always hungry for something new. Right? So market is always hungry for something new. So all I do is I give people new Malinga all the time. So it's the fans, I mean, you're talking of the song Arasi. 5 years, 7 years ago, you didn't think I would do a song like that one because the instrumental was like more like Kwaito. Yeah? It was just me doing some dancehall styles on the beat, but that was just me evolving and observing the market. With I think I need to do something different. And Panova, like we are living in the times where music is getting simpler and simpler. People pay less attention to the lyrics. Where, you know, back in the days we used to go back bar for bar lyrics whatsoever.
Yes, and Panova at nyimbo amata kuimba nyimbo icha kuti uonesese abwereza nyimbo icha abwereza nyimbo yomwe kwa nyimbo icha ikahita kumate kwa munthu anamenya padiri koma abwereza chorus icha mwina katwente chakuti verse imwe mwini waimodzi.
Yes. So we're living in the times of simplicity. So like you were saying, I observe the market. Okay, what is the market demanding? Because if I don't feed the market what they are looking for, I need to phase out. So I just happened every time I try my best to tap into, I observe the market and I evolve. This is that's the way in a way it's a modernized kind of way. So yeah, it's more like that. I don't know if I've answered your question.
Because I can surely say that was a very smart move, and I say that to you. Very smart move. For those like myself, that I followed dance, right? I would sit right here in front of you and tell you, I never thought of all that group, it would be you. Zero.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And I'm sure a lot of people that has followed that group, that has followed Dance in Malawi, even I remember, you know.
Let me tell you why. I'll tell you why. I'm a keen observer of music, Ed. And I saw something. What I saw, I didn't know your talent, Malinga. I didn't know it. But
yeah.
I saw the guy behind you. That's what I saw.
Yeah.
So when I saw DJ Slay is endorsing this guy, right? I
Yeah.
was like, there's something here. Okay, because
Yeah,
what
man,
DJ
yeah, man,
Slay does is he's very good on quality and he's meticulous about things. He's not going to work with somebody
Yeah, yeah.
put him onto your
Yeah,
sound.
and Slay is a perfectionist, yes.
And I'm not listen, I'm not DJ Slay's friend. You know, we chat sometimes, but I'm telling you now, the way he works, I just saw that. And I said this guy will be the next thing. And it was no surprise. From time in there was Sanji or Senji and there was you, you know, and every time Slay produced you guys Marusa Nyimbo, you know, so I knew that there was gonna be something here.
Yeah,
true.
Olakatuluka group in Nkangoni bus. Kukacha kuchandukuzi. You know, because that's why I'm saying good. Because if you go on a kunja, we're thinking good. Okay, you're in the shadow of this. This is the group that is paving a way. So mundu chawatuluka bus. I mean,
of course, that was a bold move, I'll tell you. Yeah, because it was more like every other dancer kid wanted to be part of that group. And here I was leaving the group. Everybody was like, what is he thinking? But so the other thing is, I also give credit to the whole team behind me. Like you just said, DJ Slay, my brothers Young Degree and Kinton, because it was more like, because kumavela kugula team, right? Kuti, friend bange team Yanga, kumalo boys they supported me. Because I would 100% tell you what these are the guys that shaped Malinga in general, right? Because like you're saying, Slay is a perfectionist. You know, there have been times before whereby I would go to Slay studio with a song to say, I want to record this. And you'd be like, you know what? Let's not produce this. Come back with something else. You know what I mean? So my challenging me at the manager, Makodi, it was more like, that kind of punishment that pushes you to do better, yeah. Because I remember the first time Slay discovered me. I went to his studio because the Nali fan of Jody, mind you, Slay and my brother Young Degree, they were classmates, Mali. Yeah? So Slay didn't know who I was, and I didn't tell him on purpose because I wanted him to judge me as one. Mfana and I was yeah? So it was more like he found out after we recorded 2 or 3 songs when Black Star was telling him, what are you? So Malinga sending on a degree. So he was like, what? And then Slay calls degree. What I say? I was like, so yes. So it was more like I had a team of people who saw my potential and they forced it out of me. You don't settle for this. You ain't in fun or we believe. So they made me believe in myself. Yes. So they kind of pushed me to an extent. I was, writing because I've always been good at writing, but then, for the full song composition, it was more like, Slay has always been a big producer from way back. Yes? So it was more like every time I come with an idea of a song to him, idea so he would punch in his ideas, okay, let's do it this way, and we just happened, our energies to match up. That's why we made a lot of hit records together.
Absolutely. I saw it coming, and it's normally the case when you see this thing. It's like, for example, Sonia is a good example. DJ Sonia, before he met Pempoga Foteka, right? He was producing songs, but he wasn't making hits. You know what I mean? He was making good songs, but wasn't making hits. Then when I'm going to appear on the board, that's why I said to me, when I see these things, I said, okay, this is interesting.
You see something. No, in my own side, I never, as I was like, Bas, Munduja,
man. So I think that was a move that made me believe in myself. You know what? I'm going back to start from scratch, and I'm gonna make it. And I keep pushing my way. Whatever the case, we're gonna take it to the next level. And yeah, here we are.
Hey, man. Now, big up,
Sure,
man. Big up, big up. I hope you're
yeah,
receiving.
blessed, man.
I hope you're receiving your flowers now, man. Because I'm talking about
Yeah.
big up there.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, man,
No,
I really appreciate all the fans supporting. Yeah, man. Yeah.
Appreciate it, man.
Still on the thing.
I got a question for you. It's just outside of your music a little bit, but I want to talk about music in general, like Malawian music in general, right? I hear this term a lot. I hear a lot of people say, "Hey, didn't Mfana get Ghetto this," because you mentioned that.
Yeah.
And it seems like even my cats today, they feel like they need to mention something like that to be relevant with the people. In your opinion, in Malawi, what does that message represent? When somebody says Mfana will get, I want to understand it as a person, because in case you don't know, I do music myself. I never think Mfana will get, because I think do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not that I'm saying sin Africa, but I feel like
True.
So where does that come from? Maybe you could say it on a personal level, but as you see it, where does that come from for people to say where's the measure for that?
Okay, I would say, I think in the issue, it's a card people throw in seeking sympathy. I would put it this way. Because I know most people want to be like, you Ghetto, So I'll tell you of a scenario, right? A case that I came across. Then again in the show, right? And there was this kid, he pushed through security whatsoever. I'm afraid to manage young planet. So Mfana janabwera ndije kuti father yene bamenya sound koma siri kuchuka ndifuna mundipushe. You understand? So mutu make munje he was like ndifuna if I meet Malinga andipusha ndichuka. Ambese said. So turns out kuti Mfana janabwera ndakhala naye basi ndinajeza for nearly an hour. Mene matawa nawa imene jaya anajoka ndi mentality he doesn't need my help. Right? Now for 2 questions. How many songs have you recorded? And then I have almost 15 songs. The moment this just said 15 songs, I just said, then you don't need my help. Reason being, most people, I'm upcoming artist and media, to point to many other gateway. I would say the youth want to skip my stages, but then it's not good in music to skip my stages, because the most precious time in an artist's career is when you're an upcoming artist. Because you are practicing, you're about to master your skill, but you don't have an audience to judge you. Right? So that's the most precious time. Chifaja kuti zinga to play a western dada. So dada jogmenyira mumpanda mwa dada jogama there's no one to laugh at you. Right? But mene, if you push chinthu kagamize chikabwere pa public, usana bange mature lyrically, musically and everything. Umakajori ukhoza kugwera hit. Koma. Tukumvela nyimbo yokhaya, then off you go. Number 2, now that's what my artists are really like also. As an upcoming artist, my collaboration with my international artists, sometimes I feel like, my big artists, sometimes I feel like they're so unnecessary. Big brands, they will charge you for a collab. But then, as an artist, as an upcoming artist, don't spend money on music you can't monetize yet. Abwana, mukozovila mushobu, mugabeza Air Force. Mugabeza sneaker ine Malinga sneaker. Mutenga Air Force for the Malinga sneaker isimukulidziwa. So people don't buy what they don't know. So to me, I feel like Mfana Mbili, they use the phrase Mfana Ghetto, seeking sympathy, but then they don't need that sympathy. I always use an example. I say, Dreamo forwarded from GC all the way. With no collaboration, it was just a new artist, Dreamo. No collab, no whatsoever. He made it out. So Mfana just keep on my stage. They feel like if I throw in a sympathy card, if I ask for a favor from Malinga, if I ask a favor from Wawuro, this would be a shortcut way. So it's okay to sing about ghetto life, about being in the ghetto whatsoever, but then don't use ghetto as an excuse. That's what I would say.
And look, that's true. That's true. I know. Look, the way you've explained it, I think it's very well clear. I know. I'm surprised. Just why this person he said he's got 15 tracks, he said he doesn't need any help. Well, I'm really a figure.
Yeah, okay. Now, as many position manager, what I was saying, Mamuzo Mpanga. Ndema was an upcoming artist. Don't release an album. Minimize my expenses and my music videos, because music videos are expensive, albums are expensive.
Right.
Only produce these things if you have a fan base that can buy. Because if you're an upcoming artist, you don't have an audience yet, just keep releasing singles. One of the singles will blow up. That single will push you to an extent you will blow up level you have started monetizing to Mashoda. That's when you can give people a product they can buy. Right? Rather than spending, because music is expensive. For you to produce an album, it can cost you, let's say, for example, just a random pick. A producer tells you, "Oh, fine, phone me album, give me 700,000 or produce an album." And the numbers on the phone, the typical ghetto you do hustle your say, why spend all that money when you can just go produce soldier and pay a hands and 50 about hustle, record one song at a time. One song at a time, up until the music works out. Because then you get people start coming in, because people don't support product they have no idea who the potential gain about it. So somebody might show up with us and say, video. Here's the money. We jump like a video. So Mfana mbira mfana zis kiba ma stages aminanja.